movie begins with Kate. She is a teacher at an elementary school. She is having a class and students are getting bored. On the other side, a woman by the name of Meg is pitching her lipstick brand to an investor. The investor isn't having it. Back to school, after class, Principal Miss takes Kate aside. He tries to find ways to tell her to quit and maybe change jobs. Kate is shocked. Meg comes out of her meeting and realizes her car gets towed. Minutes later, Kate comes back home to her roommate Meg, who let her know how horrible her meeting with the investor went. She is drinking. Kate then shares her own bad news, her being fired from school. The two ladies decide to spend a nice evening drinking and watching The Bachelor. Kate thinks she would be perfect on that show, but Meg doesn't think so, for her Kate isn't competitive enough. That kinda offenses Kate, who let Meg know that it's not because she doesn't sleep around like Meg that she can't compete against other girls. Hours later, in the middle of the night, Meg wakes Kate up. She thinks they should deal with their problem by going on a vacation. The crazy part is that the flight is leaving in 3 hours. Meg booked it out of nowhere. The girls hurry to the airport, but there is a huge line. Meg then flirts with the checking agent and he let them skip it. Kate isn't too excited, but Meg guarantees Florida will be amazing. They then enter the plane and Kate is having anxiety, scared of heights. At this moment, a man by the name of Ryan comes to them. They are mesmerized. He let them know his seat is in the middle of them. Once in the air, Meg talks to Ryan to flirt with him, but Kate interrupts them, introducing herself. Ryan tells them he is heading to Florida for a marriage. Both girls are literally fighting over Ryan, so he puts some headphones on. A little later, the pilot informs that because of a hurricane the plane is being redirected to St. Louis and passengers are being sent to hotel. After checking in, the girls bump into Ryan, realizing he is also staying at this hotel. He invites them for a drink tonight. Meg realizes she is the only one that forgot to pack a dress, so at the party she shows up in a beautiful dress the receptionist let her borrow. Ryan is impressed and Kate jealous. Ryan then introduces them to a couple he just met, Roger and Nancy. They then realize the hurricane just got bigger, meaning they are staying in this hotel longer. Kate and Meg try to impress Ryan and even both dance with him. Meg gets a little too excited. Her chest becomes visible and a stranger takes a photo. At the end of the night, Ryan leaves them at their floor and offers to visit the city together tomorrow. Before he leaves, Kate joins him, saying she is actually going to another floor. Meg, realizing she is trying to stay with Ryan alone, decides to join as well. Both girls fight to get the other one out of the elevator and Ryan just decides to go to sleep. Minutes later, both girls argue as they are both in love with him. The next day, Ryan decides to go on a balloon trip after Meg convinces him. She knows Kate has fear of heights, but Kate decides to come anyway and during the trip get a manic attack. So they decide to head back down in emergency and they crash a kid's birthday party. Minutes later, the whole group comes back to the hotel. This time Ryan is tired of them and decides to be by himself, relaxing by the pool. Kate and Meg decide to also go hang out by the pool. Meg calls Ryan to join her in the jacuzzi, but other men come, so he decides to go lay down next to Kate. Meg immediately brings them in the pool. Once they realize Ryan loves diving, they compete on who is the best diver and Meg gets hurt. Hours later, both women get to finally sit down together without Ryan. At this moment, they see Ryan leaving with his suitcase. They run after him. He tells them he can't wait for the flight to return as he needs to go to that wedding. He is leaving right now on a road trip with another passenger met in the hotel, Craig. Meg doesn't think it's a good idea to go on a road trip with a stranger. But Ryan is determined and says his goodbye to both of them. Meg then decides to join them and Kate does the same. The four are now on their way to Florida. Craig announces it's a 17-hour road trip. The girls are shocked. Meg is sitting with Ryan in the back, so Kate forces her to switch seats. Hours later, the group stops at a gas station. Kate goes to the restroom, but it's so dirty, so she tries her best to use it. After it, she realizes she is locked. It's Meg who locked her from the outside. She immediately is eager to tell Ryan that Kate is having a huge diarrhea. She then uses this moment to get closer to him. But at this moment, Kate escapes the restroom through the window, interrupting them. Kate goes crazy as she has poop all over her. The four then go back on the road. Kate asks Ryan to massage her back while Meg puts some pills in a bottle of alcohol. She offers Kate, she refuses but Craig drinks it. Meg is terrified. Hours later, he falls asleep and crashes into a sign. Ryan panics at the idea of missing the wedding, as it is tomorrow and the crash broke a piece in the car. They get a hotel for the night. Kate and Meg get their own rooms. A little later, Meg decides to grab a drink at the bar and Craig joins her to keep company. On the other side, Kate is by the vending machine when Ryan comes to her. He is happy she is finally alone and he kisses her. Both start making out in her room and end up making love. Kate is over the moon. Meanwhile, Craig is trying to entertain Meg but she is still sad so he gives up. He leaves her alone. The next day, Meg joins Kate at the breakfast and sees how happy she is. Meg tells her they have to stop fighting for him. She is her best friend and can't believe they are destroying their relationship for a guy. But then Meg tells her that she slept with Ryan. Kate goes off on her saying she is the one who really did. Both women argue and Meg accidentally punches Kate severely. This only escalates as both girls fight now with bread throwing. The police is then called and put the two girls in handcuffs. Craig then adds that Ryan took off with the car. He goes through his Facebook and realizes Ryan is heading to his own marriage. He is the one getting married. At this moment, Kate begs the police to let them go because they have to go let that poor woman know that the man she is about to marry is a cheater and a liar. The police accepts and Meg with Kate take a taxi to Miami. Minutes later, they arrive at the hotel where the wedding is taking place. They catch up to the woman and tell her everything, that her future husband slept with both of them last night. The woman gets angry and throws flowers at her husband. But the two girls realize they have the wrong person. They go back to the reception who show them where is Ryan's wedding. Ryan sees them and immediately runs after them. He catches up to them and tries to calm them down. He doesn't want them to screw up his wedding. They confront him and he tells them they are the ones who were trying to sleep with him this entire time. He begs them not to destroy his wedding. The wife then comes in and the two girls don't tell her a thing. Hours later, Meg goes to Craig's jewelry store. She realizes she was rude and kisses him. That evening, both women agree they can't live together anymore and apologize to each other. They fly back home. Days later, Kate is back at school and tells Principal Moss she is not quitting her job. Meanwhile, Meg is FaceTiming Craig and Kate calls her to join her. They are neighbors so she walks to her apartment to finish watching the new season of The Bachelor. The movie then ends.